These stories start from the deep mountains of Mexico and Querétaro. That's where my grandmother grew up. You have to take this really windy road. There's been many accidents there. It's covered by mountains. In her 20s, after she met my grandfather and had my mom, she left to Mexico City. She got offered a job cleaning this lady's apartment. This woman, she started off very strange. She always left the house at midnight. Her house was really dark, really dim. It gave a bad aura. She told my grandma, clean the room, dust everything off, make sure everything's fine, but don't go into this one specific room. Regardless, she gave my grandma a key. My grandma didn't go into that room while she was there. She was only there for a week. But this woman always left around midnight. My grandma didn't think much of it. It's Mexico City. The city is always active. But there was this one time where she had a feeling to go into that room. Like when something is telling you, check that room for your safety. She got the key. She pried open that room. There was an axe in the middle of the room, bloody, on a stump. And the whole room, the floor was just covered in blood, a black room, no light. It was like a scene from a horror movie. She closed the door. She got back to cleaning. That's when the lady came in. The lady asked my grandma, did you happen to go into that room? Grandma was like, no, it's just been cleaning out here. But my grandma had this feeling that this lady knew that she went into the room. She went to some other place and the lady went into the kitchen. And there was a mirror in front of the lady because she came back into the living room. There was a wooden desk on her left side. Her arms were in, like behind her back. The lady told my grandma, here's your money for the week. I don't remember how much she said that she paid, but she said she paid a lot for her maids to be there. But in the mirror, she saw that she had a knife in her hand. And my grandma was like, no, that's fine. I'm just gonna go. She left as she was getting into the elevator because it was like one of those closing elevators. The lady started running out of the room. She went down. She saw the desk attendant. The desk attendant was like, you need to get out. She's gonna come for you. You need to get out into the street. He opened the door for her. The woman came down running the stairs and she stopped when my grandma went into the street. I remember hearing that story when I was a kid. It absolutely terrified me. I don't want to go to Mexico City by myself. There's lots of satanic rituals that go around in that area that my grandma was in. Where in Mexico City exactly, I don't know. But it turned out she was a Satanist. She hired multiple women to sacrifice them. Which is why the ladies got paid in large amounts every week to get them to stay. Eventually, she would sacrifice them. When she crossed into the States, my grandma began having these dreams of people she knew. Normally, there would be memories, good times that they had, but whenever she dreamt large bodies of water, floods, particularly in her hometown of Querétaro, that person that she would have a dream about would die within a few weeks or a few months. It's almost like she was receiving a warning. My great-grandfather died a few years ago. It was a very mysterious death. He was fine one day, gone the next. We don't believe it was an accident. We can't prove anything. After his death, she would see him in her dreams. Before we moved here to the house we are now, she used to live in a trailer park in El Cajon. She used to sleep on a couch in her little trailer. That's where she would sleep the most comfortable in. She would feel someone grabbing her on the couch whenever she had these dreams of water. But when she dreamt about my grandfather, it was a different feeling. He would ask her, what happened to you? Can you tell me what happened? He said, no, I'm okay. Don't worry, I'm okay. The last time she saw him was a few months before we moved here. It was the same exact dream. She would see him at his house. He told her, "Don't worry about me, mija. They didn't let me go through because they still have some things to take care of. But pray for me. I'll be okay." After that, she didn't feel anyone touching her after she woke up. She didn't feel that morning sensation anymore. Instead, she started praying for her dad. She told me about this dream and I was like, he's just asking you to pray for him. His soul is in purgatory. We're Catholic. We believe in purgatory where the souls are taken when they're not exactly ready to be entered into heaven yet. After that, she never had a dream of him. This was back in 2012. I remember I was still in middle school. She and my dad were fighting a lot. Every single day. We used to live in an apartment in El Cajon. They were filing for divorce. This was the third time filing for divorce, and they slept in different rooms. My mom slept in the master bedroom and my dad in the living room. The master bedroom is linked to a little porch outside. Next to the room was the bathroom, then my brother and I's room, and the living room and the kitchen. It was one summer night. My mom had the spring door open. She felt someone get into bed. She thought it was my dad, and she's like, "Oh, finally. We're not gonna go through the divorce. We're gonna be fine. He wants to talk." She turned around and started talking to him. She didn't get a response, but she saw a figure in her room. She got up. That figure completely disappeared. She stood up on her bed, and she saw this figure lunge from the front of her wall. This figure was on top of her, cloaked in black, faceless, really long fingers holding her down. It was choking her. At the time, I had this little chihuahua. She started barking. My mom called to our dog, but our dog didn't come. She called my brother. She called me, my dad, begging for help. She didn't get a response. My mom began praying the Our Father and the Hail Mary. She started praying, crying. After 5 minutes of praying, the part where it says, "Deliver us from evil," she said, "Amen." The creature was slammed back into the wall. Arms extended, submerged back into the wall that it came from. The morning after this incident, she went outside on the little porch to take care of her birds. On the right-hand side, there was my dad's cage for his white dove. Next to it was my mom's cage for her two little lovebirds, her little cockatiels. They always knew when my mom went outside. They would always be chirping. They heard the bag of food. They started making their noise. They started flying around. That morning, it was really strange. When my mom went outside, she didn't hear them. She lifted up the curtain for the dove, and he was fine. When she lifted the curtain for her birds, these little animals were stiff and dead at the bottom of their cage. It wasn't cold or it wasn't hot. It was a perfect summer night. It wasn't too hot, so they couldn't have suffocated. There weren't any feathers around the cage, which would have indicated a predator tried to get them and scared them. It wouldn't make sense for them to just die flat out. The mom must be taking care of them. I've heard when something bad is about to happen to you, your animals protect you from it. They take whatever bad energy or demons might be attracted to you. I say that's what happened. They were protecting my mom from that entity. Now we moved to a different area of those apartments. Once we settled in, we were having dinner. I saw, and my mom saw this too, a shadow of a little bird just flying from the hall into her new bedroom. I would like to believe they were still protecting her. We eventually moved out and began living on a trailer on a friend's property. It was a beautiful 3-acre property. We had goats, chickens, sheep. It was really beautiful. My parents ended up fixing things and not getting a divorce. We started going to church more, getting closer to God. Everything was good for a while until my mom began seeing that shadow again. It was around summertime of 2019. It's always summertime in these stories. My mom woke up one night. She got a bad feeling. She looked around. She didn't see anything until she saw something going from the dining area into her side of the room. She began praying like last time. She closed her eyes, but still something didn't really feel right. She moved her body, opened her eyes, and she was inches from the ceiling. She was levitating. She closed her eyes again and felt herself gradually going down and touch her bed. My dad's a really heavy sleeper. He doesn't know anything that happens. He didn't feel anything. That was the last time that my mom ever saw that figure. She's never mentioned anything since we moved to our new house now in 2021. She started getting closer to church, closer to God. As for me, I've always seen shadows and apparitions as a kid. I remember seeing my first apparition when I was in 3rd grade. We lived on this property with about 20-something acres, almost like an abandoned amusement park. I remember seeing this little boy when I was crossing the bridge from one part of the park to another. I saw this little boy walking on the bridge, and I was like, do we have any visitors coming today? I went over to look for my mom and my grandma to ask them if they saw him too. Who is this? Who did we have over? When I turned back, he was gone. He was a little blonde boy with shorts and a striped shirt, like a summertime fit. A little boy drowned years back in that creek when it was flooded. We moved from there, and everything was fine for a bit. After my mom had that last encounter with the dark entity in 2019 in the trailer, I began having sleep paralysis. My bed was on the left side, my brother's on the right side. I had my window open. It was really hot. We didn't have insulation in the trailer. I had the Chihuahua and another 1-year-old Chihuahua that we adopted. They both slept on my bed. They were always really protective of me. That night, I decided to go to bed early. For some reason, around 10-ish, I woke up 3 hours later. I was able to move my eyes, but I couldn't shake my legs or say anything at all. I was just stiff. My head was turned towards my window on my left-hand side. I saw a little boy walking down from a tree outside my window, looking at me. And it looked like the little boy from the David books, like No David or David Gets in Trouble, exactly like him. He just started smiling. His teeth were weird. They weren't razor-sharp teeth, but they were all canine teeth. His eyes grew red. I was internally screaming, grunting for my brother to come get me out of this, wake me up. I can't, this thing is right here, is trying to get me. I saw it getting closer and closer to my open side of the window. That's when I began praying the St. Michael prayer. I was heavily breathing by the time I finished that prayer. I didn't say anything to my brother that day, but I did ask him the next morning, did you hear me calling for help? He was like, dude, I just thought that you were sleep talking. I've never sleep talked in my life, ever. When we moved to this house that we live in currently, we had this house blessed by a priest. He would go around every corner in the property. We have a guest house, 4 acres surrounding us. He went through every corner. Everything was fine for a while. But a few months ago, back in 2023, around September time, I had what feels like an out-of-body experience. My spirit left my body. I saw myself floating in the room. And I saw myself on the bed. It sounds like a dream, but I don't think it was. I heard the ticking of the clock that I have. I saw my phone light up with a notification. I started floating towards my closet door. I kept my eyes closed and I was like, okay, you're dreaming. This is a bad dream. Normally I can wake myself up from nightmares. This time I didn't. It's not a dream. When I looked back on top of my bed, I saw a woman in a Victorian nightgown, black hair, Her throat was slashed. She lunged towards me. I moved aside towards the nightlight, and once I reached that nightlight, I wasn't able to see her anymore. I got back into my bed calmly. That's when I got up and realized everything was just the way it was. But my dogs, they felt a little something off. All of them were looking at me and they're like, what the heck just happened? What was going on? My younger Chihuahua, she started barking. I tried to calm her down, but she was really aggravated. I held her underneath my covers and I started praying the rosary until I fell asleep. I haven't had any out-of-body experiences like that before since that one time. But this next story that I'm about to say, it really scared me. I was driving home a few weeks ago with my aunt. There's a lot of curves going towards Campo. It was about 10 p.m. We were driving around the curves. As we were about to get home, I see something emerge from the bushes. I was like, oh, it's fine, it's deer season. But this figure was extremely tall. Its legs were not like a deer. I saw it standing on 2 feet. What kind of like deer stands like that? Until I saw it morph from its 2 feet all the way all on all fours, and its back started curving it. Its neck, it's too long for a deer, too long for it to be any dog. Its neck was huge and its snout extremely long. It made me think of a giraffe, a really tiny giraffe. It couldn't have been a deer. It was fluffy. It didn't have any antlers. It had ears like peaked on top of its head like a dog. I thought it was a huge dog, but no, it's too huge to be a dog. I just drove past it. I didn't say anything. It was probably just a figment of my imagination. My aunt turned towards me and she's like, you saw that too, right? Okay, I knew I wasn't the only one to see this. I know I'm not crazy. There is an Indian reservation a few miles down. I asked a few of the kids, hey, do you know what this could have been? This happened to me. I saw this. I don't know what it is. It's freaking me out. And they're like, dude, I don't want to scare you, but it sounds like you just saw a flesh pedestrian. I don't whistle outside of my house. When I can't find my dogs, I go looking for them. I don't whistle. I don't make any noise out of fear that it's going to attract them. I don't want to say the actual word out of fear that it make itself known and present again. Since then, I just pray every night that my family be kept safe, that I never see that again. I don't know why. It's only been the women in my family that see these type of entities. Like my grandmother's water dreams, how she would predict someone dying. And me with these out-of-body experiences, seeing that flesh pedestrian. Whenever something like that happens, we've always just been able to overcome it. We turn to God, and including myself, I was always religious, but more since I saw that thing, it's something that I can never get out of my mind. I talked to my brother about it. He says it's nothing to worry about, nothing's real. But my dad is actually Native American. So he was like, yeah, those things are real. Plenty of people in my hometown have talked about it, have seen it. I know that it's a real thing. And I don't talk to my mom about it because she doesn't really like mentioning what happened out of fear that it's going to open up a portal and for the entity to come back. I still visualize it, the way it transformed into something on 2 legs going into all fours and it moving its back. Like basically almost broke its back because that's how it looked like. It was something else. The area that I live in it's mainly woods, mountain woods. It was like mid-transforming into a deer or a coyote or something. It was a few miles down, I want to say 3 minutes from my house. On the left lane from where I was driving. It's a 2-way road. And it was on the left lane towards the woods of the left lane. They did not reflect, no light reflect from the car reflected onto its fur, whatever it was, nothing. It was pitch black. It was actually there. I thought it was just a figment of my imagination. I'm not going to talk about it to anyone, but my aunt, she was like, you saw that too. And I was like, okay, it's not just me. Someone else saw it. I've always just heard stories of flesh pedestrians. I've never actually seen one. So seeing one just completely, like, it changed forever. Like, I used to never whistle outside because I always believed in them. But even more so now, I don't make any noise. When I look for my dogs, I take them out to the bathroom at night when they get home from work. I go outside with them because I don't want to be going inside and then calling them, Candy, Mavis, Jaxo, come inside. Because you never know if it's going to be them that comes back. Might not be them.